Good morning or afternoon. I'm Vicki Westling here with City Speaks in front of City Hall. We're bringing City Speaks to City Hall today for the residents because Mayor Rosas has received comments, he's received questions, and the residents want to know what goes on behind the scenes. So today we're going to let you know. We're going to show you what's happening. Before we get started, I want to take a quick look over here on Central Avenue where we're doing the work on the curbing. The question came up, will that be handicapped accessible? Will it meet all of the ADA requirements? Yes, they will. You can see how they slope down, so they will be handicapped accessible. And when we talk about accessibility for those who might have difficulty maneuvering through, City Hall has an elevator, and many people are not aware of that. So I want to take a quick look and let you know where the elevator is so that when you come in, you don't have to come up the stairs. We can go around to the elevator. So let's take a quick look that way. Let's walk toward the elevator and see what's happening. In the meanwhile, as we're walking, the other question that came up today was about the leash law for dogs. Dogs must be leashed, even if they're friendly, even if they obey their master. If your dog is outside, it must be on a leash. There is a leash law. Please remember that. So now as we go through City Hall, we're going to come around. You can see we have Central Avenue. We're now going to go through the doorways that would say Dunkirk City Hall and the Stearns Building, because this is where we have the elevator access. So this is for those individuals who might have difficulty maneuvering the stairs. We're going to go down the stairs now because we want to show you what's going on. As you can see, when we come inside, we have the elevator. This other exit takes us back through the police department. So this is where you would come in if you needed handicap accessibility. We're going to go downstairs to the basement. We're going to talk to our Human Resources Department. We're going to speak with our Fiscal Affairs Department. And we're going to talk to the Building and Zoning Department, places that you all need to come to. So let's take a quick walk. Okay, we're now in the basement of City Hall, and you can see as we've come down the staircase, there's also another elevator access sign as well as our exit sign. So this will lead you to City Hall's elevator. We're now going to walk through to our Human Resources Department personnel, let you know what's going on here. This department is the department where if you are looking for employment, there are applications, the information, everything that we have is here on the bulletin board. So everything goes through the Chautauqua County, even if it's not a competitive position. And by competitive, I mean positions that require testing, civil service exams. So all of our positions are brought in through this area. There are applications here in individuals who are interested in working for the city of Dunkirk or for the county of Chautauqua. Come in, take a look. We have postings. We're now going to go through and meet our Director of Human Resources, David Campola.
How are you?
Good. How are you? Okay, David, we're here with City Speaks to talk about human resources. David Campola is our Director of Human Resources. David, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I've been in the HR business for many years. I'm originally from Central New York, Utica, New York. And I got a chance to be a part of the mayor's team, and which we think he's doing a great job, and we're just glad to be on board with him.
Okay. All right. And so now human resources, you've really brought some things along since you've come on board. We've brought our training up to speed.
Yes. We're doing a lot in training. We're also going to be doing some new name badges, picture badges that everybody's wearing now. And we're just doing a lot of things in safety and training that, not that it hasn't been done before, it just needed to be brought up to speed.
Okay. All right, good. And so now human resources really is, people of old called it personnel,
yes.
And that was the people, a little green visor, but we've really expanded this.
Oh, yeah. We rely a lot on our IT programs. Everything's on a computer now, and we're trying to upgrade those too as we go along. So it's an exciting time to be at City Hall.
Okay, we're going to talk with Roger. Roger handles all of our benefits. He is our personal administrator. So Roger does a lot with our benefits programs. He does a lot of the research that goes into the programs that we put into place. So come on in. We're going to talk to Roger.
Bye.
Thank you, David. Good morning, Roger. Roger, we're going to talk to you a little bit. Tell us a little bit about what you do.
Here at the city, I'm involved in personnel administration, involved in the hiring process, onboarding employees, enrolling them in all the benefit programs, and compliance with federal and state regulations, workers' compensation involved with, the whole onboarding and human resource function.
Now, you've been with the city for a while now, almost 10 years, I believe.
Yeah, that's correct. I'll be going on 10 years next year.
So one of the other things that you do, and I know that you're kind of buried here with all the research, because if there's going to be something, if there's a new law or a new edict that comes down, whether from the federal government or the New York State Department of Labor or wherever it might be, you're the guy that has to pull it all together and make the recommendations. Is that correct?
That is correct. Since I have been here, one of the major programs that came in was the Affordable Care Act. People viewed that as one word, Obamacare. That required a lot of time implementation. People didn't realize how much it required. The state is coming up with a new program that is optional, that is going to be a paid family leave program. And just recently, they have implemented a new program that will take effect next year, is on sexual harassment. Employees will have to be trained every year on that. So yes, there is a lot of research, and the legal environment and compliance environment is constantly changing.
And now you mentioned sexual harassment. We've already done sexual harassment training for 2018, and that is an annual training program that has to happen for all of our employees. So that will be taking effect again in 2019. So there's a lot of changes that happen, and we really appreciate it. I'm going to ask you to come with me to the Kathy Kern's office and tell us a little bit about what Kathy does. She's not available right now, but maybe you can fill us in. Okay, this is kind of the epicenter or the hub of what goes on, because in this department, Kathy has to she receives applications, she processes them, she does a lot of things with upgrades for pay, for filing. Tell me a little bit more about what happens in this office.
She coordinates all of the employment issues with Chautauqua County Civil Service, requests certified lists for competitive positions. She also keeps track of all the employee files. Any pay increases that employees get, we have to notify Civil Service, and she keeps track of all the employee files. New hires, Kathy does the orientations. That's quite a process now with the onboarding. I've got a little cheat sheet here that I would go through. First of all, she gets the certifications, any license they may have to have. The number one thing you have to do is federal government requires you to I-9. And what I-9 is, you have to prove that you can legally work in the United States. And that's very important. A lot of people think, why do I have to do this? You have to do it. It's required. Then we have to schedule employees for pre-employment testing. That consists of a physical, a drug test, and a background check. Then Kathy enrolls all the employees in the benefit programs. That includes medical, dental, life insurance, flexible benefits, the New York State retirement system, which is mandatory for all full-time employees to join. Then we also have a flexible benefit plan where employees have choices on that. We have an employee assistance program that she helps administer. There's a lot to it on the onboarding process.
And she is really busy. If you come in here anytime during the day she is absolutely swamped with everything. So she kind of is the one who makes everybody else look good, right?
Absolutely. We're customer service in here, and that's what she is. She has to treat the employees as customers. And
That's right, and they are our customers. So, okay, Roger, thank you. All right, we're going to go into our Fiscal Affairs Department because along with our Human Resources Department, the Fiscal Affairs is where the money comes from. And that includes our payroll. So employees who want to get paid, they need to know what's happening and how to get their checks. So we're going to meet first with Kevin McCullough. Kevin is our payroll clerk. And Kevin, how are you? We're here with City Speaks. Tell me a little bit about what you do and how you do it.
Well, I've been here for payroll 16 years and with the city almost 23 years now. We have about anywhere between 170 and 220 employees per week, and we do payroll on a weekly basis, so it's pretty busy from Monday through Thursday. Today was a check day. And then we also deal with the New York State retirement system, state and federal taxes, employees deferred comp, direct deposits, anything else that the employees may need.
Okay. So other than just the payroll checks, then at the end of the year now, this is going to be a busy time because now you've got to make sure everything's done and get ready for their W-2s and W-4s and all that stuff that has to happen.
Oh, yes. The end of the year is pretty much the busiest time of year for us, and the beginning of the following year, because we have to make sure the year end is closed and the new year's started out on a clean slate. So this isn't as busy of a time, but come December, January, it'll be the busy time for us.
And so now with payroll, another thing that you do is that you keep track of, you have the system that allows you to keep track of available vacation days, sick days, comp time, all of that stuff. So that has to be rolled over and make sure that's accurate for the beginning of the following year. Is that correct?
That's correct, yes.
Okay, Kevin, thank you. Appreciate it. All right, let's go meet our Fiscal Affairs Officer, Marcia Beach. Marcia, well, before we do that, let's talk about our accounts payable area. Our accounts payable, this individual who sits here handles all the checks, pays all the bills, invoices come in, or bills and statements come in. She's the one that writes the checks, and so you can see that things are really crazy in her area. All right, here we are in our Fiscal Affairs Department with our Fiscal Affairs Officer, Marcia Beach. And Marcia is really in charge of everything that has to do with fiscal affairs. She's our number one go-to person when it comes to money, budgets. Marcia, tell us about what's happening.
Well, as you can see by the look of my desk here, we are right smack in the middle of budget for 2019. We've been working pretty much, every day the last few weeks since summer, and the mayor is working on that, and he plans to present that, I believe, next Friday to the council. So we're diligently working to put every taxpayer dollar to its best use.
All right, so you talk about the taxpayer dollars because that's really critical. Our fiscal responsibility or our fiduciary responsibility to our taxpayers, to our residents. It's not good enough to just say, oh, well, we'll pay that tomorrow, or we'll do this today, or, yeah, we're just over by $10,000 or $100. They want an accounting for every penny. And we do that by having regular annual audits. And how did our last audit turn out?
Okay, it was very good, much like 2016. Since the mayor's started his administration, he's been on every expense and just really, keeping tight control, which is great, which is what needed to be done. And it turned out great. We did clean up some stuff from many years ago, some issues that maybe weren't quite correct or weren't accounted for properly. So we really cleaned up a lot of that. So our books are in great order, and just real excited to see how this year turns out, because I think it will also be in the positive. And all of our fund balances are, for the first time in a long time, all in the positive, which is really wonderful.
Well, that's great, and good job. Thank you. Okay, we're going to head over to our building and zoning department, because this is where people go if they need a permit, if they need to have something done that has to deal with if they've got somebody who's their neighbor, their grass is too long, or there's debris in the yard, or if there's an unlicensed vehicle. All of these different things are things that we do in our building and zoning department. So we're going to go over there. We're going to talk to our building and zoning people. We're going to find out what's going on, and hopefully they'll give us some insight. And as you can see, as we go through the this area, everything is kind of a maze. It's, you know, you've got stairs everywhere. The building really kind of goes around into a circle. So as we go through here, we're going to now go into our building inspector's office, and we're going to see what's happening. So, let's see what's... Yeah. Hi. I'm good. Warren, Wendy, I'm here with City Speaks, and we want to talk about what happens in your department. Your department has got a lot going on. Many things are happening. One of the things that you do certainly is if there's, grass too high, which is a critical issue. You must get complaints about that on a regular basis. We talk about if somebody wants to put on a porch, put on building. So who wants to tell me a little bit about what goes on in this department?
I'm new here, but I'll tell you what goes on right now. We're working on several stealth buildings. I think basically they're on Main Street, Doty, and we're doing, most of them are in construction phase right now. They're wood frame. Some of them are single family. Some of them are 4 units or 5 units. So we're keeping up on all the inspections on that. Right now we're presently working on the cold storage building over on South Roberts Road. I think the owner is the Crow Group. And we're also doing multiple property maintenance concerns. We go out and investigate and send out notices when needed.
Okay, now you talk about let's back up the still properties that are going on, because even though the city is not necessarily involved in actually constructing those properties, we're actually involved in making sure that they're constructed properly. Is that correct?
Right. We do inspections on those properties. We have the plans, and then we do all inspections, like, say, from foundations, footers, walls, wood framing, and mechanicals, HVAC, plumbing, electrical, and make sure everything's done according to the drawings.
Okay, so, and then we talked about the cold storage warehouse that's going up on South Roberts Road. Of course, the Edgewood building is down, and there are just piles and piles of bricks and debris everywhere. So now you will be involved in what aspect of that?
Well, we inspected the demolition of the existing building, made sure all the asbestos was removed and reports were received to this office. And now we're just reproving the foundation and the structural steel portion of it.
Okay. We also have situations that come up on a regular basis. People call in, they say, the grass is too high, there are weeds everywhere. Is that are those the most kinds of calls that you get, and what do you do about that?
Our 2 ladies in our office take all the complaints on the telephone, am I correct? And then we go out and we investigate them. If we find a violation, then we send out a notice to the property owners, and then we follow up to make sure that they were brought back into compliance.
Okay, and I know that a few weeks ago there were people who had complained about cars parked in the driveways or parked in yards that were unlicensed. They didn't have tags on them. Wendy, tell me, what happens with those things?
We will follow up by investigating, and after we investigate whether it's a legitimate complaint, we do a violation letter to the property owner. So whether it's a tenant or not, the property owner is responsible for that property.
Okay, so then they have to have the car licensed or moved.
Yes. It's required to be licensed, registered, and inspected.
Oh, okay. And now one of the things that's happened recently, of course, are the fires. Can we talk about that? Sure. Okay, so now we have the buildings that have been on fire. We've got all the issues going on there. What are you doing in that area? How do you handle that?
Once this department is notified of a fire, we go out to the site, and we work with the fire department, fire chief, Mike Edwards, and then we determine if it's an unsafe building on the site, and determine whether we have to level it right away because it's a danger to the residents of the city, or if we have time, we go out and get RFPs to do the demolition.
Okay, and now, if I want to put a porch on my house, what do I do?
First thing you have to do is fill out a building permit application, give us a detailed scope of work. Then we review any plans that they give us to make sure they comply with the New York State building codes. And at that point, then we will get the permit fee and issue a building permit.
Okay, so the people come down here. If I want to do some kind of something change to the exterior of my house, does that include the interior also?
Yes. Any structural renovations or new construction must have a building permit.
So if I were to say I want to remodel my kitchen, would I need a building permit?
Definitely, yes. Because when you remodel a kitchen, you go into brand new electrical services because everything is new codes now for the electrical when you renovate. And you're going to have normally new drain lines and plumbing for the sinks and everything and the dishwashers. So, yeah, everything needs to be permitted.
Now, a roof. Do I need a permit for a roof?
In the city of Dunkirk, if you have more than 2 layers, then we have to tear off to put a new layer on. If you have 1 layer, then you're allowed to put 1 more layer on it. But you need a permit for it.
So when we see people who have all the metal roofs, and the metal roofs, they put them over. If you have 1 layer, they put them right over. They would only be able to put the metal roof over if there was only 1 layer beneath.
At this point, yes. I mean, there are exceptions to it, but we have to, most of the time you have to go out and make sure that the contractor can use the right length screws to go through how many layers of roof they have, and that they hit every joist.
Okay. The other question what about windows? If we need new windows, do I need a permit for new windows?
If you're replacing existing windows and it's going to be the same size, so it's just like a replacement window, we don't require building permits. If you go to a larger size, then we do because we have to inspect the new header size.
So if I have 2 small windows and I want to just not put in 2 small, I just want to put in 1, then I would have to have a permit.
Yes.
Okay. What other kinds of permitting questions come up on a regular basis? What other kinds of things do you hear out in the field?
Basically, that's a hard question without a little research, but most of the questions, people are just concerned what things are permittable and what aren't, and it takes our office time to investigate and just work with the owner and to make sure that what they want to do, their scope of work, needs a permit or doesn't need a permit.
Okay, so if somebody has a question, if they want to do some work on their home, whether it's interior or exterior, if they want to put in a roof, windows, driveway, any of those kinds of issues, any changes that they're going to make to their building structures, they need a permit. And that would also include if they want to put a shed in their backyard. Is that correct?
Yes, excuse me. Storage sheds or Amish-type sheds, they all need to come here for a building permit. First of all, so we can approve the way it's being constructed and also to make sure all the zoning setbacks are met.
Okay, so that's critical. So this is where you would come if you need to have any of those kinds of things done. And if there's grass too high somewhere or weeds too high somewhere, you get to call in or come in and we'll have somebody check it out. So, okay, well, thank you both. Anything that I didn't ask that you think I should have? No?
If anybody has a question whether they need a building permit, just call in. We'll help you decide on that.
Oh, okay, good. So they're here, and Wanda is usually out front here, and she's always very helpful. I know Wendy is very helpful. Of course, Wendy's in and out doing her job because most of the things you do is not inside, right? Okay, thank you. Thank you. Have a great day. Okay, we're not going to go into our police department today just because of the sensitivity of some things they have going on. But if you needed to go to the police department, this is where you would go if you came in through City Hall. You would come through this door to get into the department. So we're going to go now into our city clerk's office. Our city clerk's office is the office where many people come for a lot of different things. So let's come in and see what's going on. We're going to come into the city clerk's office and meet with our city clerk, Edwin Ramos. Edwin, we're here, and I want you to tell me a little bit about what does the city clerk's office do, What kinds of things do you take care of? What kinds of questions do you get?
All right. Well, first of all, we take care of most everything. We keep the city hall running pretty much here. We take care of supplying office supplies, paper, ink, and any and everything that's needed to keep an office building running. Additional to that, our services to our community is the big part of why we are here. So we supply licenses for marriage. We supply licenses for things such as the taxi drivers, electricians, plumbers. If you want to work in the city, sooner or later you're going to come and you're going to bring me a certificate of liability, or you're going to get licensed through our office to do business in the city of Dunkirk. That also includes solicitors, and with special events, most of the vendors that are represented at the special events also come through and they get their solicitors and vendors licenses and permits here at the city hall or at the city clerk's office. Additional to that, if you can take a look at all these forms that we have back here, this is the bulk of what we do for our community. So they come in here for such things as pick up a police report. They also pick up or apply for FOIL requests here, so you can get your Freedom of Information Act information from here. You bring us an application, we process it, and we get that information out to the general public. We also have notices of claim, so if something happens in your life and you believe that the city's had some type of fault in that, or there's an allegation of wrongdoing, or whatever the case may be, we also process notices of claim. We also do parking tickets and dispute forms. So this is where you come if you get a parking ticket and you believe that it was not deserved, or if you believe that you had a reason to be where you were, then you would come into my office and we give you a dispute form, and you're able to take this to the judge. We take it to the judge and we take it to the police officer that actually wrote the ticket, and we give them your reason, and you're able to dispute the parking tickets.
So in addition to all of those things that you have, you do birth certificates here. There any kind of registration that has to happen. Now, Michelle, can we talk to you for a moment? Because you're usually the first point of contact before anybody goes to Edwin or anyone else. Tell me, what are some of the things that you deal with most often?
If you want to get married, you come in and get your marriage license. We do all the authorizations for that. We send it into the state. You can do acknowledgement of paternity through our office, birth certificate replacements, dog licenses. Pretty much anything basic is done in this office. Paperwork for the public, basically. That's just my phone.
Okay, so in this office is pretty much where registrations happen, where licenses happen. And then if you have a situation where we're dealing with solicitors, so if we were to have like Food Truck Tuesday or food truck activity, those food trucks would have to come in here and get their license or their permit to do that solicitation. Is that correct? Yeah. And so in addition to all those kinds of things that you do for the public, for the residents, for the city, and for what you do for the employees, because you also handle, like you said, all the office supplies, purchasing of those types of things. What is the one thing that you get, the one complaint or the one concern you have most often?
Parking.
Parking. People with parking tickets?
Yes, people with parking tickets. I don't like the parking tickets. They want more parking signs. That's their complaint.
Okay, so that would work. Well, okay, thank you all very much. We appreciate your service and look for us later. Okay, take care. All right, we're going to walk over now to our treasurer's office, but we're going to start and see what's going on there, because the treasurer's office actually handles all the money that comes in. The treasurer's office is the office that pretty much they control the revenue. Whoops, his door's closed. Okay, all right, we're here with Mark Woods. Mark is our city treasurer. Now, Mark, the treasurer's office is really a critical office because this is where all the revenue comes. This is where you have to keep track of everything. And you have been here for a long time. Tell me a little bit about what you do and how long you've been here and all those things.
Well, I started Vicki in 1995, so I'm a little bit over 23 years. The office takes care of all revenue collection, including property taxes, water utility bills, and any other revenue coming through the city.
Okay, and so now we talk about the revenue coming through the city. What other types of revenue do we get besides taxes and utility bills?
Well, we have various receipts for tax certificates, utility gross receipts taxes, payments for recreation facilities, any other type of miscellaneous payment like that.
Okay, so like any rents that the city collects on any property the city owns?
Yes, definitely. Absolutely.
And so this must be a nightmare for all the paperwork that you've got to enter. Now, of course, we're computerized here, but still, there's a lot going on. So tell me a little bit about your regular day.
Regular day is between telephone calls and individuals from the public can be very hectic, yes. But we have it down to a system, and it works well, and we all enjoy it.
So now, 23 years. Now, you're in an elected position. The treasurer's an elected position.
Yes.
So you must be pretty good to be elected and reelected all these years.
Well, I try to do the best and be as fair as possible. So, and if there is a problem that the public has, I'm here to help, and so is the office staff. So no one should hesitate, if they do have a question or a concern, either to call or come in. We're here to serve the public. So please don't hesitate, if you do have an issue you would like addressed.
Well, of course, and that is in line with the mayor's vision. The reason we even have the City Speaks program is because of the mayor wants transparency. The mayor believes in transparency, and he wants the residents and the taxpayers and the employees and the visitors to our city to understand that, this is why we're here. We're here to serve them. They are our employers. So we appreciate it. You mentioned your staff. Let's go meet them. Okay. All right. Let's go meet your staff. The staff for the Treasurer's Department, they actually are where the individuals that are going to pay the bills. They're the ones that are going to make sure that if you have your utility bill, that comes in, or property taxes, they're the ones who handle these sorts of things. So let's see what's going on. Rich, come and talk to me. Hi. Now, Rich is the guy who actually, if you come in, you want to pay your utility bill, you want to pay your taxes. Rich, tell me a little bit. You've been here a while. What do you do? Tell me about your job.
Well, we collect water bills and taxes. Right now, we're not collecting any taxes right now. The school taxes, the current tax that's out, and it's being collected across the street at the community bank. In January, we send out the county taxes, and we collect them. And in April is the city tax. We collect those, and they're usually due in May. And we post the payments each day. I collect the mail, but mainly we're the collection source for the city revenue.
Okay, and
just a question on property taxes. The city is the collector of all three taxes, but the school district has their own collector who works from Community Bank until November 1st. And November 1st through July 31st of the following year, the city is the collector of the school taxes. So we do collect all three taxes, but the school, not until the regular collection period for the school district has expired.
so we could be very busy with all of the tax collections and the utility bill payments and all of those things that tend to go on. So, and Valerie, come talk to us.
This is our newest employee, Valerie.
Now, Valerie, your position with the treasurer's office. Tell me a little bit about it. Come over here where we can see you.
Hi. Okay. I enter water meter charges and process it and enter the charges and mail out the bills and collect the payments.
So you do the so you do the whole gamut. You from the time that the water meter report comes in saying this is what is owed, you prepare the bill, you send them out, and then you collect the bills from that. So how do you like your job? You're really new.
Yes, I love it. Thank you.
Okay. Well, all right, guys. Is there anything that you think that the public needs to know or wants to? Let's talk about the paying with their credit cards or the.
I was going to mention we now.
Come over here.
We're now taking credit card payments, so that's another convenience offered to the public. If they wish to take advantage of it, it's available. There is a convenience fee that the individual using their card would be responsible for. So that's something you want to keep in mind. It's 2.65% of the total dollar transaction.
Now, is that 2.65 for the total dollar transaction, or is that after a certain point?
For the total transaction, yes.
All right, and do we have a lot of people who are using that convenience?
There are some that have taken advantage of it, yes, especially by telephone if they're out of town, away on vacation, unable to maybe personally come to City Hall, or they don't want to bother mailing a check. They will call and use their credit card, yes.
Now, is this a precursor to being able to pay online?
Well, it's our first step, and we're working toward being able to pay online. So eventually, yes, definitely, the public will be able to pay online for all bills.
So if we could pay online, then would that eliminate that charge?
Well, again, everything comes with a cost, and unfortunately, there will still be a charge involved, yes.
Okay, so to pay online, there's still going to be an additional charge to the person paying.
Well, we're going to do our best that when we do reach the point of online payments, that we can maybe not eliminate an additional charge entirely, but keep it to the bare minimum so that there isn't a huge additional fee involved.
Okay, very good. All right, well, thank you very much, and we're going to go now to the assessor's office.
I should mention also, Grace had a scheduled day off today, so Grace is not here, but she's our other employee.
Okay, right. Grace is really terrific, and she is actually Grace is actually a shared position. She's actually shared between your department, fiscal affairs, and the clerk's office. Yeah. So we're sorry we missed Grace because she really has a lot to bring to the table.
I'm sure the public coming in has seen her and seen all of us, actually, but I just wanted to mention that.
Okay, well, thank you. At least we know she's not camera shy.
Right.
Okay, thank you, guys. Thank you, Rich. Thank you, Valerie. Thank you, Mark. All right. Okay, we're going to go over to our assessor's office. Get in there. Okay, we're going into our assessor's office, and this is where our property is assessed to determine what our tax liability is. And we have Tom Malechko, our property assessor. Tom, may we come in? Okay. Tom, I'm here with City Speaks. Tell us a little bit about what you do, what happens, how you support the public, and what kinds of things go on, and how long have you been here?
I'm starting my 12th year now. As far as property maintenance, records, inventory, if you have a garage, a shed, any of that stuff, it's all these records here. The values basically were set in 1997 when they did the reval. So anything that changes would be if you added something to your property, deleted something from your property, stuff like that. We get all the deeds here for property transfers. We're the keeper of all the records for the generation of the city, county, and school taxes. And also the big deal is the STAR program. Actually, that's the big one that helps with school taxes. And with the state making their changes over the last couple of years, it's been a little more difficult, a little more trying. But in the long run, it's going to make it easier for the seniors.
Now, explain the STAR program a little bit.
Well, years ago when they started, you got a exemption off the amount of your assessment. So if your assessment was $50,000 and say the exemption was $30,000, you only paid school tax on $20,000. But about 3.5 years ago, they changed that to that instead of getting the exemption, you're going to get a check equal to the exemption, so you have to pay the full school tax bill up front. And with the seniors, they're changing it this year where the seniors won't have to come in to register every year if they do not file a New York State income tax. There's more paperwork to fill out this year, but once that gets completed, Albany will handle all their income verification. Basically, Big Brother in Albany wants to make sure they're not going over that income limit, which is roughly $86,000, and that's what the bigger issue is. So, but that's a big crux of the work this time of the year.
Okay, and now, as the assessor, and you said that with our last reeval was in 1997, are there plans to do another reeval?
Would I like to see one done? Yes. Is it cost prohibitive? Yes, because it runs about $90 per parcel on an average, and you've got 6,000 parcels. That's a big chunk of change. A few years ago, Albany was offering you $5 per parcel if you did one, which didn't help much. Now they've even cut that. Basically, it would be nice if we could ever go back to 100% equalization rate, because then you get 100% of your STAR, 100% of your veterans benefits, and all those things like that, because everything is subject to the equalization rate. One big misconception people have, they get a school tax bill or a county or city tax bill, and they call them, you changed my assessment. No, your assessment's the same, but your market value has changed based on the up or down movement of your equalization rate. But just to make everything clear, you pay your taxes on your assessed amount, not your fair market value. That fair market value is just supposed to be an indicator of what you could get if you were trying to sell your property in the perfect conditions.
So another term for fair market value might be appraisal. So
Sale price, anticipated sale price. It's not an absolute science, because we've seen them sell way above their fair market value or way below. You know, right now it's a buyer's market, because there's not a lot of really, really good one-story ranch stock out there. So if that comes available, it goes quick, and it goes well above the assessed value. And every time something sells above the assessed value, that makes your equalization rate go down. So,
okay, all right, and now you're in an elected position, and you've been elected 5 times?
I took over when Andy Washington resigned in 2007, so ran that year. So 7, yeah, about 5 times.
Okay, well, you must be doing a good job if they keep reelecting you.
Well, the nuts and bolts office is manned by Molly, who's off day, because Molly started her 50th year in that position this past June. So she's the one that keeps everything on the straight and narrow.
Okay, so we're not worried about reelecting you. We're just worried about keeping Molly.
You've got that right.
Okay, well, thank you, Tom. You take care. Appreciate your time. Okay. All right, we're now going to head up to the next level of City Hall. And as you can see, when you come into the staircase, there's one side for the Dunkirk City employees, and there's another side for the general public. And the reason for that is because when the general public comes up, we have our security system there. So we have our police officers. You have to walk through the security area because security is important. So we're going to go upstairs now to our second floor and see what's happening up into this area. We have, on our second floor, we have our Department of Public Works administration. We have our legal department. We have our court system, and we have our mayor's office. Let's talk first to the guys who make sure that they keep us safe. Keep us safe as we come in. Can you tell me a little bit about what happens when somebody walks through, and what do we do?
Whenever anybody enters onto the second floor of City Hall, we go through the metal detector, sort of like the airport. Any kind of objects in your pocket, cell phone, keys, loose change, things of that nature will go into a basket and then come through. As long as we can be confident there's no weapons, we can ensure everybody's safety, and then you can go about your business up in second floor of City Hall.
Okay, well, thank you. So these are the guys that are in charge. Okay, we're going into our legal department. Hopefully we'll meet with our city attorney and our paralegal. So this is our legal department. We have our city attorney, Rich Morrisroe. And Rich, we're here with City Speaks to talk a little bit about what's going on behind the scenes in City Hall. So as our attorney, you've been with us now for over a year. Over a year. So tell us a little bit about some of the things that you work with, some of the things that are most critical, and things that our residents might want to hear about.
Well, we kind of touch on a little bit of everything. We run in support of all the other city departments. So we do contract review for any contracts that the city has with vendors, such as building contractors and what have you. We handle any kind of complaints against the city, what they call notices of claim, when somebody feels like the city damaged property or they were injured. We also handle negotiations with the 4 unions that the city has, and we work with the HR department on those kind of issues, any kind of union grievances, complaints, what have you. We work with outside developers on in the development office, development planning, on any new projects coming on board. We're currently in the works on working on a ground lease for the hotel that's coming next to the Clarion, and working with the developer on the Battery Villas. Like I said, we touch on a little bit of everything. I handle any of the city code violation complaints that come to city court. So if you have a dog case, there's a loose dog, or if you have a case where there's a noise violation or housing code violations when, somebody needs to repair something in the house, I handle those on behalf of the city and city court. And Lexi and I, we run in support of all the departments in the sense that if there's some legal research that needs to be done, or some clarification, or some language or drafting, we work on that. We also work with the Common Council on drafting resolutions, doing research for them as things come up, and providing recommendations to both the council and the mayor.
Okay, so we stay pretty busy in this office now. Lexi, you've been with the city for a while now also. Tell me some of the kinds of things you get. Do you get a lot of complaints in the office? What kinds of things do you deal with?
Mostly I deal with the notices of claim, dealing with the resolution minutes, and dealing with the resolutions. We also deal with any questions that any of the department head has, making sure that we have any files or any old contracts that may be needed to deal with any other projects that might be coming up, and just stuff like that.
Okay, so you're kind of the city attorney's right arm.
She is. She is. She makes us what we do possible.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you, guys. Take care. We appreciate talking to you. So we're going to head out now.
All right. Take care, guys.
Thanks. Okay. We're here in the mayor's office. Mayor Rosa's secretary is Carol. Carol, you've been with the city for a long time, but tell us a little bit. What are some of the things that you do for the mayor?
I greet customers. I greet the visitors when they come in, whether they want to, I find out what they need. Some of them want to make an appointment. Some of them would like to see the mayor as soon as they come in, but a lot of times that doesn't happen. The mayor is very busy, so he's in and out of the office all the time. So if they would like an appointment, I take their name, their information, what it's in reference to. I check with the mayor and I call him back, schedule something. Sometimes I can find out what it is that they need, and sometimes it's just somebody here in one of the other offices at City Hall that I can refer them to, so I'll take them over there. And if not, a lot of times I might know the agency to connect them with. And regardless of how it ends up there, I do let the mayor know later that this happened, they were referred, and I think, it's just so he knows that we've helped the people out. So,
okay, and now you've been with the city for a long time. You've worked through a lot of different mayors. Tell me, how long have you been here, and what are some of the changes that you've seen?
It's actually this month, on the 19th of October, it will be 41 years that I've just finished. So I started here on a grade school internship. That's what I tell everybody. So, but it's evolved a lot. Now, I have to say, with this administration and this time, a lot of it runs with texting, and I'm not a big texter or a technology person, but that is a big part of the job because the mayor's in and out all the time. So in order to stay in touch with him, texting is the preferred, I think, for us to keep in touch, because even if I call him, a lot of times he's at a meeting, so he can't answer, but sometimes he can look down, so that's been one of the biggest ones in the last few years. But there's just, it's a lot of it is different every day. Like today, you and I were speaking earlier about a list of all the boards and commissions that you'd like an updated list, which I'm going to work on today. I work on purchase orders, and also the mayor receives a lot of invitations to attend different things. So when I get these in the mail, I open the mail and I refer to whatever I can to other departments, or it goes onto the mayor's desk. A lot of times I'll make copies so that I can follow up with him to see if he has decided whether or not he's going to be able to attend, so I can respond for him. So it's in a timely fashion.
So basically, it sounds like that keeping track of him is one of your biggest challenges.
Between you and I think that's what it is. Yes, it is. Yeah. But he's so busy. Yeah.
We're going to put bells on his shoes, right? Yeah. There you go.
Yes, right?
There you go. Okay. Well, Carol, the other thing that we have is because we have all the city council persons who come in on a regular basis. What is your involvement in working with the city council?
Well, sometimes they have requests for me. That's not too often, but sometimes I can help them with information that they're looking for. And the mayor obviously sends out memos and emails. He'll ask me to send them, to inform them of something that he wants them to be aware of. And to get in touch with them as far as different meetings that he would like them at, or an invitation, like as far as the chamber banquet's coming up. So yesterday we just reached out to all the council members to see if they would like to go, because the city's going to be purchasing a table to go so we can have representation from the city. So.
Okay, well, that's great. Well, listen, thank you so much for your time. I'm sorry that he isn't here, but I know he was in a meeting, so we thought there might be a chance that we wouldn't be able to catch him. But thank you, and we will see if we can catch up with him at another time. Okay? All right. Thank you. We're going to head over to the development office in our Stearns building now. Okay, thank you, Carol. Okay, we're in our office for our Planning and Development Department, where Rebecca Yanis, our Director of Planning and Development, she is out at a meeting today. But we have with us, we have Danae Waller. Danae is kind of the first person you see when you walk in. She's the one that kind of helps keep everything moving along. So Danae, tell us a little bit about what you do.
Well, being the secretary to Planning and Development, I just, make sure everything is running smoothly. Anything such as, the posters you see here, I organize those. Between making copies and answering phones, it's what I do.
Okay, and now do you have very much contact with some of the people who come in, some of our developers?
Well, just the initial contact, I get their name and number, and then I set them up with our director. So.
Okay, all right, we're going to go in and talk with our deputy director, E.J. Hayes. And EJ kind of does a lot of things for us. As the deputy director, he also handles the farmers market. EJ. Good morning. Good morning. How are you? I'm well. Good. EJ Hayes is our deputy director for our planning and development. So EJ, tell me a little bit about what you do in the development office. I know Rebecca isn't here today, but give me a kind of an idea of what's going on.
Sure. Actually, Rebecca and I work hand in hand on a lot of the projects with the city, the development projects, the planning. As you guys know, we have tons of stuff going on. Right now, we got our BOA designation, which means that there's some great sites in the city that we can look to redevelop and bring some new businesses and some new resources to the city. We are working on some child care help for some of the local businesses and some of the not-for-profits to do some child care, some vouchers, and maybe do a capital campaign to look at bringing in some child care. So all these different things are going on right now. I'm in the middle of trying to get some letters together for the mayor so we can get some other people at the table to keep growing and looking at doing some of these big projects. You can see out the window, we've got Central Avenue going on with our Central Connections. We got the pier, so there's never a dull moment.
Right, economic development is really moving along, and we were just over in our attorney's office, and he talked about the things that are happening there, and we were downstairs in our planning and housing and zoning office, and they were talking about all the things that are going on there. So the city is really booming, and we appreciate everything that you guys are doing, so thank you.
Thank you, Vicki. Thanks for all you're doing. Thanks, Kevin.
Okay, that concludes our program today for City Speaks. We didn't get to all of our departments. Time's running out. We missed some things. We'll come back and try to catch our DPW department and our police department at a later time, as well as our special events, because our special events coordinator, Hector Rosas, is really busy, and he has a lot to offer. So we'll try to catch them at a later date. Thank you again. Remember, City Speaks is all about the residents of the city of Dunkirk. It is the vision of Mayor Rosas to make sure that his administration is totally transparent. If you have questions, if you have comments, if you have concerns, please don't hesitate to send those to me, Vicki Westling, City Hall, 342 Central Avenue, Dunkirk 14048. You may email me at vwestling@cityofdunkirk.com. Call me directly, 363-6888. Let us know what's going on. We'll be happy to answer your concerns, to answer any questions that you might have. Also, you may watch City Speaks anytime by going to DunkirkAccess.com, YouTube. It's there. If you see something you like, let us know. If you see something you don't like, let us know that too. This is your city, your mayor, and your show. Thank you for watching, and have a great day.